Yo, what's up guys, Gray here, and today we have got our week 2 battle of the UPA. We're going up against J Carlino 14, I believe his name is. I think his YouTube is actually different, but I'm pretty sure that's his name on Discord at least. And his Atlanta Talonflames, and I've actually never faced this guy before, so I have no idea what to expect. I know that he is one of the smaller channels, much like myself, so make sure to go and show him some love. Down in the description below is all the links to the coaches in the UPA this season. And yeah, let's get straight into the team builder. So his team consists of Celesteela, Mimikyu, Silvally, Venusaur, Moltres Galar, Porygon 2, Tyrantrum, Charizard, Electivire, Butterfree, and Gmax Lapras. And looking at this matchup, I think Gmax Lapras is an absolutely terrifying threat for us, which may seem a bit weird, but I think the 3 turns of Gmax, if we don't play it properly, if we lose our check to it early on, and I say check because we pretty much only have one, if we lose that thing early, then it's going to be a real problem, and probably during his Gmax may be able to claim 3 kills. I'm hoping it doesn't, but we have our way of dealing with it, which we'll get into later. Celesteela, honestly, I don't feel like this has a particularly great matchup. It is one of 4 flying types that he's actually got on his team, so you already know I'm bringing Zeraora because that thing is an absolute monster in this game. Yeah, Celesteela doesn't have the best matchup, but at the same time, it can be just a really annoying mon to deal with. It tends to be a very annoying mon to deal with if you don't have something like, on my team I have Zeraora. Urshifu can honestly just break through it quite comfortably as well with Wicked Blow. Not to mention I got good defensive checks to it. Things like Swampert and the Colossal can sort of deal with it relatively well. Also, it doesn't really deal well particularly with my Duraludon Gmax, so I don't think Celesteela is coming, but you never know. Mimikyu, that's 100% coming to me because it's his best way of kind of revenge threatening out, I guess, my Urshifu, because I don't want to take a player off, and as long as he's got his disguise, then he is always in a prime position to be able to take whatever hit I want to do and kill me with a player off. It also can use Wood Hammer to hit my Swampert. It has things like Drain Punch to hit the Exploud and the Colossal. And outside of that, my team really doesn't resist ghost types particularly well. Of course, Urshifu, but then he's got a Play Rough, and then Exploud, like I said, he's got the Drain Punch for that. So plenty of things that it could potentially hit on my team. Big thing it has is that it does actually kind of have 4-move syndrome in this game. It kind of really wants Play Rough, it wants Wood Hammer, it wants Shadow Claw, it kind of wants Drain Punch as well. It also wants Swords Dance. To be able to actually do too much damage, it wants Swords Dance as well. So, yeah, I think Mimikyu, though it's a threat, I don't think it's the biggest threat on his team. Silvally, 100% that's going to be ground type if it comes. If it's any other type, I'd be shocked, because that is basically his one switch into a Zeraora. I expect it to be bulky, to be able to take multiple hits, because outside of, like, I guess, Grass Knot on a special set, there's not a lot that's really being able to break a Silvally ground on my Zeraora. It also takes on things like the Colossal well, it takes on Quillfish pretty well. Honestly, if it's like a mixed bulk sort of set, then it can take on Tornadus and Gardevoir alright as well. It can also take 1 or 2 hits, depending on how bulky it is. If it's very physically bulky, it can actually take 3 Wicked Blows, I want to say, from Urshifu. So definitely can take some hits. Venusaur, I think this thing is definitely coming. It beats my defensive core, and yeah, just the combination of like Grass move, probably Sludge Bomb on Poison move, and then Earth Power. That just takes down my Tangrowth, takes my Gardevoir, it takes down my Swampert, it takes down Colossal, it takes down Quillfish, takes down Clefairy. It can hit Duraludon super effectively. Like, it is just a big threat in this game. I definitely think Venusaur is up there with Gmax Lapras as one of the bigger threats. No surprises to what I'm bringing, if you could work out the cries. Moltres has a decent matchup. Possibly it'll come along. It's just a really nice kind of revenge killer for things like the Urshifu, the Tangrowth, and like a physically defensive Swampert. I mean, I guess to an extent Gardevoir as well. But if I see it, it's almost definitely going to be Choice Scarf, I think, to be able to outspeed things like the Zeraora and the Urshifu, get big hits off on them. And I honestly don't think it has a good defensive matchup in this game, so I don't expect to be anything other than really Choice Scarf. P2 can be annoying, but I do have an Urshifu and a Zeraora that really kind of, I think, make him not want to bring it. I also have very good answers, things like Tangrowth and Swampert. it can't do a whole lot to those as well. Duraludon is not touching that, so I don't think Porygon 2 comes along, but if it does, it can be a little bit annoying just to try and break down. If I let the wrong things go down early, then yeah, Porygon 2 can definitely be an issue. Tyrantrum is terrifying. The combination of like Head Smash, Outrage, and then either Close Combat or Play Rough. I think Close Combat is better in this game, but the combination of those three with Dragon Dance is just terrifying. It's going to be able to break through my entire team effectively. We do have our ways of dealing with this pretty well, but they're not like constant checks throughout the game. Tyrantrum will eventually be able to break through my team, but hopefully we were able to do enough damage to stop it from being able to do that. Charizard, don't see this thing coming. It's good against my team, don't get me wrong, it's not bad at all, but it does kind of lack the immediate oomph to be able to break through things like especially defensive Swampert, to be able to break through things like Colossal without Scorching Sands. Doesn't really do much to Duraludon either, so I don't think Charizard's coming along. I think it's just I think it's outclassed by other things on his team, and I don't think he wants to bring too many electric weaknesses. If he's bringing Lapras, if he's bringing like Celesteela, for example, I don't think he wants to bring another electric weakness on top of that. I could be wrong, but yeah, that's just my 2 cents. Electivire, probably going to be defensive if it comes along. Again, another check to Zeraora. It does all right in this matchup. Things like Tangrowth can pretty much wall it indefinitely. It does have some coverage, but it's not going to be doing enough to things like Tangrowth to Colossal, I expect. Also to like a defensive Swampert, like especially defensive Swampert, I don't think it can even do it KO with Grass Knot. So yeah, Electivire I don't think has a particularly amazing matchup, but I wouldn't be surprised if it came along. And Butterfree is just Butterfree. Like, honestly, it has a decent matchup against my defense, but against my offense, it just gets like Zeraora just blasts it. It can't do anything to Colossal, can't really do anything to Duraludon. Like, I don't think Butterfree has got a great matchup at all. So from that, Lapras definitely coming. I think Venusaur's definitely coming. Tyrantrum and Silvally and Mimikyu, I would say. And then it's a toss-up between like Celesteela, Porygon 2, and maybe Moltres, maybe Electivire at a push. But anyway, let's get into our team. First up, we have got our Urshifu with the Choice Scarf and a Jolly Nature, of course. Close Combat, Wicked Blow, Thunder Punch, and U-Turn. Really, this is just hits the most things on his team. Close Combat is breaking through things like the Porygon 2, the Tyrantrum, and the Gmax Lapras. Wicked Blow just hits like his entire team outside of like Moltres, and that's it. That is his Dark Resists on his team, unless he brings like Silvally Dark or Silvally Fairy. His Fairy type is neutral to Dark type, so yeah, he just has Wicked Blow to... he just has Moltres for Wicked Blow. If he doesn't bring that, he has no Dark Resist at all on his team, and Wicked Blow is kind of free. With the Choice Scarf, we're outspeeding everything except for the Charizard as well. So, importantly, we are outspeeding Mimikyu, we're outspeeding Silvally, we're outspeeding Electivire, and yeah, we're able just to put in so much work, especially if we save this to late game. It'll be able to hopefully just sweep through like some damaged opponents, because all I need is a bit of chip, and Wicked Blow can just go crazy. Thunder Punch hits the Moltres, which is the one kind of switch into it. Again, I don't think Moltres is really a switch in. I think he probably has to bring like defensive Silvally, and eventually we're just going to wear through Silvally. I think that's the situation, is that we're just going to eventually wear through Silvally, and then Zeraora or Urshifu is just going to kind of go crazy on this team. Thunder Punch, obviously, he has a big electric weakness, like I said, Celesteela, Moltres, the Charizard, Butterfree, and the Lapras, so might as well spam some electric coverage for just to have it, and then U-Turn is just to pivot. If he has things like Tyrantrum with a Choppleberry, then he can take that hit, baiting me into clicking Close Combat, but he can then take that hit and he can kill me in return with either Close Combat or Play Rough. So we really want to just kind of U-Turn on that thing just to scout and see what he wants to go for. Next up, we have got Zeraora with an Expert Belt. With a Adamant Nature, because his speed tiers are super, super low. We're able to run Adamant and with a good amount of bulk as well. Plasma Fist, Close Combat, Blaze Kick, and Knockoff. Honestly, his coverage just runs through his entire team. Plasma Fist hit all of his electric weaknesses that I've mentioned before. Close Combat hits the Porygon, it hits the Tyrantrum. It hits the Gmax Lapras as well as Plasma Fist, so we can potentially just use that to our advantage. Blaze Kick will hit the Venusaur, and that's pretty much it. I guess Celesteela as well, but Plasma Fist is there. And then Knockoff really kind of cripples the Porygon 2, and can knock off potential like Weakness Policy or Heavy Duty Boots on the Lapras, which would be amazing for me. Not that I think he's ever switching it in, but if we are in a situation that we can get a free knockoff first without having to potentially pop a Weakness Policy on it, then we're in a great situation. The only things that realistically switch into this on this team are a defensive Venusaur, which we have Blaze Kick for, and it will 2-hit KO with Expert Belt Adamant. Silvally Ground, which we don't have a super effective hit for, but honestly, like 3 close combats from Adamant, I'm pretty sure will take down a... if he's not fully physically defensive, then it will take down a Silvally Ground. Outside of that, he really does not have a great switch in. Close combat should 2-hit KO an Electivire, unless it's really, really bulky. I didn't really calc a fully Fizz-Def Electivire, but if he has that, then that's what that's doing. Next up, we've got our Swampert with Leftovers and a Impish Nature. Flip Turn, Earthquake, Stealth Rock, and Roar this week. I didn't want him particularly setting up too much with Tyrantrum, so I have Roar just on the off chance that he decides to try and set up multiple times against my Swampert. Also, if it's like some weird Weakness Policy set, then I'd rather just kind of roar it out and get rid of it. Things like Celesteela can be very annoying if it's Totemize. Also, you got like Swords Dance Mimikyu. It's got lots of setup on his team, actually, looking through it. Like pretty much everything on his team's got some kind of setup, so that's really nice. Stealth Rock, obviously, he has four flying types and Lapras, none of which want to take the Stealth Rocks. Also, it's great just general chip against his team. Like it'll put Venusaur in 2-hit KO range, definitely, of Zeraora. It'll hit put Silvally in range of 3 close combats if you keep switching it in. So Stealth Rock is just really nice for chip. Also, I think it puts Mimikyu in Wicked Blow range and Plasma Fist range after it's broken its disguise. So yeah, outside of that, it's just a defensive check. It's really here for like Tyrantrum. To a lesser extent, things like Silvally, because Silvally could be running Grass Pledge, and I would expect it to run Grass Pledge in this matchup. Also checks Celesteela pretty well, unless it's running Seed Bomb. And also Mimikyu, unless it's running Woodhammer. Like, there's a few caveats to whether or not it checks something, but it generally is just kind of here to stop Tyrantrum sweeping. And then if it stops that, then it's got other uses outside of just being a defensive pivot. Next up, we've got our Clefairy making its debut this week with the Eviolite, very, very Spadef, and we're running Moonblast, Knockoff, Thunderwave, and Soft Boiled. This is our one and only real switch into Lapras. If it's Modest Life Orb, then this is not a switch into Lapras, but it will waste 2 of Lapras's Gmax turns at the very least. If it isn't Life Orb, we can actually switch in, and as long as he doesn't go for the Max Geyser on the first turn, we're actually able to stall out all 3 of his Gmax turns, and we can actually soft boiled on like after that, because he has to keep hitting Hydro Pumps. Hydro Pump in the rain is not doing enough to be able to knock us out. I think might do after a few. I think the range was like 48 to 55, somewhere around there. But when the rain runs out, then we're able just to soft boiled and we win that 1v1. We can eventually get a T-Wave off against his entire team, really, except for Electivire and the Silvally. Getting a Thunder Wave off is really, really nice. Knockoff is there to cripple the Porygon 2, because that is a very good switch into this Clefairy. And also just generally nice to knock off items, because we don't know what he's going to be running. Like, there's a lot of heavy duty boost options. Knocking them off would be great. And then Moonblast is like its stab option. I honestly didn't... I wasn't going to run Moonblast this week, but then I realized like I don't have much to hit Moltres. Silvally kind of just switches in and doesn't really care. And considering I have like Zeraora that really wants Silvally to be chipped, I felt like running Moonblast was just going to be better this week. Knockoff hits things like the Celesteela. We can always T-Wave on that. But realistically, we don't stay in on Celesteela anyway. So Moonblast is just really nice to kind of spam against things that we are going to be staying in on. And yeah, next up we've got our X-Cloud also making its debut this week with the Assault Vest and a Calm Nature with a lot of defense and Spadef investment. So we're kind of all round just generally bulky. Of course, we're running the Scrappy, so we can Boom Burst that Mimikyu. We're also running Fire Blast, Ice Beam, and Focus Blast. Honestly, his coverage just hits everything on his team. Unfortunately, we don't get Thunderbolt on this because that would be really nice. Bolt Beam actually does a ton of work against his team, but if he doesn't bring Celesteela, then he pretty much doesn't have a switch into Boom Burst. Tyrantrum will be taking a big chunk. Unless he's a Spadef Porygon 2, that's very much going to be able to take a hit. But we do have Focus Blast. Again, it probably can take the hit just fine, but if we end up knocking it off, then it can't take the hit very well. Focus Blast hits the Lapras as well. Ice Beam hits so much of his team for neutral damage, especially if he's bringing Silvally Ground. It's just hitting so much of his team. The only Ice-type switching he actually has is the Gmax Lapras, which, is a pretty good switch-in. And Fire Blast hits things like the Celesteela for super effective. It hits the Venusaur. It hits the Butterfree as well, should he decide to bring that in. But Boom Burst is pretty spammable in this game, and with the Assault Vest, we're able to take on his Venusaur. This is like our primary Venusaur check. We're also able to take on his Gmax Lapras for a couple of turns, but we don't have the same longevity against it as Clefairy would. And lastly, we have got our Tornadus, our third debuting Mon, I think, this week, with the Life Orb and the Timid Nature and Defiant. Not running Prankster, just because I felt like it wasn't necessary in this game. Tornadus outspeeds everything naturally, so being able to just Nasty Plot for free, like at the end of the day, I feel like Nasty Plot really needs the Prankster, because like, what's it doing for you? I think if you're running things like Bulk Up, then maybe you want to run Prankster because you want to be able to take a physical hit. But Nasty Plot, you get no real benefits from Prankster. Hurricane, Heat Wave, and Focus Blast, pretty much the same coverage as X-Cloud. It just hits everything on his team for really good damage. This is, honestly, if he doesn't bring a good Choice Scarfer, if he doesn't bring like Tyrantrum, I think that's his only real good Scarf option. Maybe Electivire would be Scarfed, or Charizard if he brings it. If he doesn't bring a Scarfer at all, this can actually just win from turn 1 effectively, because he doesn't have good switch into it at all. Nasty Plot Focus Blast will Oko a Porygon 2, even if it's Spadef, which is absurd with Life Orb. He has one Rocker, being Tyrantrum, and I don't think it's going to be running Rocks. So running Life Orb is super, super free, because we're not too worried about the potential Rocks. We don't have to worry about Heavy Duty Boots this week, because honestly, if he brings Rocks Tyrantrum, that's just one less thing for me to worry about. But that's the team. I'm pretty optimistic about this game. I think we do have a good matchup. I believe Zero Aura really just does a ton of work. And if we put everything low, then Urshifu can literally just claim a kill on everything. So yeah, feeling pretty good about the matchup, but I will see you guys in a battle in a minute. Okay, so here we are for the game. I started this video a little bit later than normal, but he wanted to record like a pre-game team builder. That's how long it's been. My Switch has decided to give up. He's probably most of what we expected. I think it's probably going to be a physically defensive Venusaur. The Tyrantrum is scary. The Lapras obviously is terrifying. Silvally, we'll have to see what type it is. I'm assuming maybe ground. It could be fairy, thinking about it now. Then he's got the Mimikyu. He needed that for me to not be able to spam close combat, basically. They've already Electivire, which I didn't really expect too much. Looking at this matchup, actually, my X-Cloud is really nice, I think, at the start, but I kind of still want to lead off with my Urshifu and just U-turn if needs be. If he leads off with Tyrantrum, if he decides to stay in, then you pretty much know it's going to be Choppleberry. I think that might be just like a bait set, and then it's going to try and kill me with close combat or play rough. This works if he leads with Mimikyu as well, because I can then break his disguise. I think that's going to be fine. I'm just going to send that. And we get to see what he wants to lead with. There is no Choice Scarf on his team that will be able to outspeed my Urshifu, so that's really nice for me. And yeah, I've never faced J. Carlo before, or J. Carlino, I believe it is, not J. Carlo. Yeah, I've never faced him before, so always love facing new people. He just straight up leads off with the Lapras. That is that's scary. Yeah, he is. He's not holding back. I don't think he stays in here. I'm just going to click the U-turn. Regardless, this is never my mon to stay in on this. Now, he could just first turn Gmax. And if that's the case, I think it's a little bit scary. But at the same time, I think we can handle it from this point. If Gmax is later in the game, I think it's a bit more of a problem. But we're going to see. I don't know if he wants to just Gmax first turn. If he does, then it's kind of safe to assume that he's probably going to be weakness policy. And regardless, here I just want to go out to my Clefairy. If he stays in, of course. If he decides to switch out, then we play accordingly. But I'm kind of not expecting this thing to stay in, but he could also just Gmax first turn and like claim 2 kills pretty much off the bat. If he's not Life Orb low, Clefairy should be able to take this just fine. Okay, he does switch. Goes out into the Mimikyu, so that's awesome. We get to break Sting's Disguise on the first turn, which is absolutely ideal for us. Just clicking U-turn. Like, if we clicked Wicked Blow there, actually would be in a great spot, but I didn't think by any means he was going to stay in there. And I would go into Swampert, but I feel like I still need that thing for Tyrantrum. Honestly, I think that Exploud has got like the freest matchup, so to speak. So I'm going to go into Exploud and I'm just going to click Boom Burst. You may also forget that I got Scrappy, and I can hit him regardless. I don't think he really has much of a switch into this, so yeah, I'm just going to click Boom Burst. Play Rough shouldn't be able to 2-hit KO me. Not unless he is Choice Banded. That's like Adamant Life Orb actually might be able to 2-hit KO me as well. But I don't know if he wants to sack this thing. Well, he probably lose one. But I don't know if he wants to take that kind of damage this early on. And honestly, Boom Burst doesn't give him any free switches. Now he's going to withdraw. Is it Silvally still? Jurassic Park, that's the... yeah, that's the Tyrantrum. This should do a decent chunk. Unless it's Assault Vest. Hard to really tell. Let's see if I can just get a calc up quickly for that. Tyrantrum... If he's just offensive... that's doing a little bit less than what was expected. What if he's got close combat? Does that just Oko me? He doesn't actually Oko me with anything. And I could just knock him out of an Ice Beam from here. Unless he's banded. That is... I guess that we get that information on this turn. Do I really need this for much? Like, it's useful for the Venusaur. I think this is my, like... So I can go into Swampert. As long as he doesn't get out to +2, then we're in a really good spot. If he does get to +2, I think that's an issue. But I don't think he can afford to realistically stay in on this. I think he's probably calculating that damage and thinking it's not doing as much as he would expect. But maybe I should have stayed in Ice Beamed. He just goes for a Head Smash. Okay. We can scout for what damage this is doing. That does exactly a quarter. So Head Smash, that's looking like jolly damage. And I kind of want to just set up my rocks here. He can definitely go into Venusaur. But I just go back into Exploud if he goes into Venusaur. And I can actually just click Ice Beam relatively freely. There's not a lot he can do. He would actually probably die to an Earthquake. So I don't think there's any world in which he wants to stay in here. Not unless he's Shocker Berry. Like, if he's Shocker, then yeah, he probably just sets up. But judging off that damage, he is jolly. No boosting item. Obviously, we didn't see a Life Orb. It could be Expert Belt, I guess. It could also be like a low roll, I guess, on like... I don't think it could be low roll Choice Band, could it? No, that could definitely not be low roll Choice Band. It's got to be like Choice Scarf, or... I think maybe it's Chopper. Chopper would make sense. Goes into King Neptune, the Lapras. So I'm just going to set up Stealth Rock. If I flip turn, that would be a better situation for me, but I'm quite happy to now just go into my Clefairy. Yeah, I don't want to take a freeze dry potentially, so I just go into Clefairy. He is absolutely free to just Gmax here. And Gmax is scary. He could also be Light Clay, just to keep the Aurora Veil for even more turns. But he decides not to Gmax, I believe, because it would have gone off before the initial turn, so there's not a lot he can do here. I know it does, he does Gmax. And we get to see how much this does. So we've got plenty of time whilst this animation's going to be able to check Lapras for damage. It's going to be offensive. I think it's probably going to be modest. We'll see if it's like Life Orb or something. It goes for the Resonance, which is actually better for me. That damage, that does 100 to 106. That does 39%, which makes me think that he is... well, he's not Life Orb. 36, that's about our mid-range. I'm quite happy just to see out his Dynamax here and just soft-boiled. He can go for the Max Geyser, sets up the Rain. It's going to be doing a lot of damage. It is going to be doing a lot of damage, but I hopefully can live one more. And we are wasting his turns of Dynamax. So we're just going to pop the soft boiled, and hopefully this puts me out of range. It is in the rain, so 53 to 63, we're at 126. We're at 73, so we should actually live this just fine. I'll get soft boiled again. He does appear to be modest, but also I think outside the rain, we take this hit much better. Depends whether he's Surf or Hydro Pump. Hydro Pump will definitely hurt. We should live this? Yeah, we do. And we just soft boil back up again. I kind of want a T-Wave on this turn. I could also knock off. I could also just keep trying to stall this thing out. If he switches, is there anything that's immediately a big problem for me? I guess Mimikyu could be an issue, but again, I quite like just T-Waving on that. I think I just soft-boiled and keep this thing healthy. He can definitely switch. And he is going into the Silvally. It's Silvally Ground as well. I kind of expected that. Glad I didn't T-Wave, because that would have been a wasted turn. But we're now at full health. It could be SD on this. SD would be a bit of a problem. I really do not know what his set is at all. I mean, Clefairy has kind of done his job. At this point, it's kind of done its job. I can probably scout. I think that's just risky. X-Cloud looks really nice. You know what? I'm just going to go for a Moonblast and scout what he wants to do if he sets up. Just Defogs. Okay. We can kind of scout out damage here. I mean, doesn't matter because it's a neutral hit, so... that does very little. He has got the Aurora Veil up, so it could be offensive. Could definitely be offensive. I definitely want to see what kind of moveset it's got. It goes for the multi-attack. We can scout how much this is doing to us. That just over half, which is really unfortunate. That's a crit. Oh no, it's the Aurora Veil. Aurora Veil stopped. That's why. Okay, this is an offensive Silvally. I can actually soft-boil later on the Lapras. So, do I want to go into X-Cloud? I think X-Cloud's probably taking a good chunk from a multi-attack. Try and find Silvally Ground. So many Silvally sets. We're not particularly wanting to take that. I could also go into Tornadus. He might predict that. I'm going to make an aggressive play and go into Torn. And if he predicts that, then it's a good Very good read on his part. But we are safe if he goes for the multi-attack. I'm pretty sure that's ground. I was going to say, if I misread that and it's actually rock, that's a bad time. If that was rock, that's a bad time. I just want to throw off a Hurricane, I think, at this point. He doesn't have a switch into Hurricane. I want to see how he reacts to this. He doesn't have the Veil up anymore. So yeah, Taunt should absolutely just tear through this thing as long as I hit it. If I miss, I lose a lot of health. Potentially. Potentially lose a lot of health. But this certainly puts like all the pressure on him. He didn't bring the Porygon either, which is amazing for me. I just realised that he didn't bring it. We missed the Hurricane, of course. Fairly standard. Can he miss a Rock Slide? No. That's very unfortunate because we just take a massive chunk for no reason. Yikes, that is... yeah. That's not great. Can I be... I should still be able to beat the Venusaur without this, but hopefully we can hit a Hurricane. It is 70% accurate, which kind of sucks. Maybe I should have gone for, like... oh, is it Air Slash? I'm pretty sure I guess Air Slash. This thing is amazing against his team, so it's actually really unfortunate. I think the Tyrantrum could be Choice Scarfed, and if it's Choice Scarfed, that's like best case scenario for me. But yeah, hitting that Hurricane would have been really, really nice for me. It would have meant I was still at full health for my Torn. But we go about missing moves recently. And we can definitely miss another Hurricane. It's entirely possible. And we just lose our Tornadus for free. That would suck. As we are. Okay. That really sucks. Yeah. Maybe I should have just gone into Swampert and played it safe, but... yikes. Okay. Unfortunate. Super unfortunate for me. But I think I just go into my Swampert and I click Flip Turn. I don't have Grey Switch-ins, but this should outspeed me. Do I want to scout for a potential Grass Pledge? Like, would he run Grass Pledge on this as well? Do we lose to... no, we'll never lose to Choice Scarf Tyrantrum. He's going to switch probably into the Venusaur, I would assume. Yeah. It would be real nice to have my Tornadus for this situation. Yeah, perhaps it was a unnecessary play and I could have just doubled into Swampert. That probably would have been a safer play, but we definitely did a good chunk. Honestly, I could just go into my X-Cloud and start throwing off Ice Beams. He doesn't necessarily have great switch-ins to it. Yeah, he doesn't really have great switch-ins at all to Ice Beam. I doubt he's aware of what my set is at this point. So he may well just attack. If he goes into Silvally, that's like best case scenario. But we're a little bit on the back foot just because we missed those Hurricanes. We'd be in an incredible place if we hit both, or hit one. I think one would absolutely have done enough. We get to see what kind of damage he's doing with that. That's not bad. Ice Beam is doing nothing, so that's very Spadef. That's very Spadef. I just want to go for a Fire Blast here and do a bit more. I don't think this is a 1v1 that we win, but I want to put him in a position where potentially he's just going to go for a Synthesis, because it seems to be a very bulky set. We don't get poisoned at least. We hit a Fire Blast, so that's good news. And I think I'm just going to go for a Boom Burst. I'm happy to like keep taking damage on this effectively to get rid of his best way of dealing with Swampert. It's just going to Sludge Bomb again, and we're going to be able to trade. That's a crit. Unfortunate, but I don't think we were really in range of being able to take any hits. So yeah, we do take out the Venusaur, which is his best check to the Swampert. However, he does still have a few things on his team that are problems, like Tyrantrum in particular I'm thinking is a bit of a problem. But as long as we have our Urshifu, we should be able to take that out. I'm interested actually how much Urshifu does to Tyrantrum with Wicked Blow. Wicked Blow does 57 to 68. So he goes back into the Silvally. This is fine for me. Do I want to keep this around? It's worth keeping it, I think, for a sack. But do I want to take a multi-attack with my Swampert? It's really the only thing that's kind of... it's the only thing that's checking, like, Tyrantrum. It's a tough turn. Because he's definitely going for the multi-attack. I have no reason to believe why he's not going for it. I'm just going to sack... Yeah, I'm just going to sack my X-Cloud here. He can kill me with multi-attack, that's fine. And then I go to Swampert afterwards, because I just don't want to take that damage. I could set up rocks. I could, but I don't want to take that damage, like I said. I'd be interested to see what his immediate like switch into this is. You know what, I am going to click rocks. I think rocks are going to be helpful still. Multi-attack will probably do about 25%. Potentially just flip turning would have been better and got in Urshifu. But if he switches here, then we're in a much better position. He's going to switch. And I assume he's going into Lapras? Yeah. So, can a max HP Lapras... Can that take... That doesn't take a close combat. I doubt it will take a Plasma Fist either. I don't want to risk not outspeeding this. I know it was taking the hits pretty well. Yeah, I think I should go into Clefairy here. And like, we've been really put on the back foot, like losing Torn. Honestly, I think that was just a little too reckless. Because Torn is still really nice, or was really nice for the endgame. It just goes for the Freeze Dry. We don't take two of those, I'm sure. No, we might do. Just on the off chance that he doesn't kill me here, I'm going to soft boil it up. Because he may also want to switch and try and gain some offensive momentum, which would also make a lot of sense. No, he's just going for the Hydro Pump. Can he miss? Nope. Unfortunate. I mean, we were asking a lot for somebody else to miss, but... like, I want to just bring in Urshifu. Like, I do want to just bring in Urshifu, but at the same time... Like... I could just bring in... Zeraora. Plasma Fist would kill. I could also go into my Urshifu. Like, I'm sure that he's probably an item that resists one of my hits. I think I'm going to go Zeraora, and I'm going to click Close Combat. If I click Close Combat, it catches the Silvally as well, is what I'm thinking. So yeah, I'm going to click Close Combat. If he is Chople, and he stays in here, then that's kind of wild, but I feel like either Electivire or the Silvally is his play here. I don't think he needs to sack Lapras at this point. It's not looking great, I'm not going to lie. We'd be in a much better place if we still had Torn, and if we still had X-Cloud, but, you know, it is what it is. It's a game we play. It's a 70% accurate move at the end of the day, and, yeah, you're bound to miss a couple. Especially when it's me. No, Close Combat won't kill this thing if it's max HP, but he's going to switch out. And I'm going to assume this is the Electivire? Yeah. Which is probably his defensive check to this. So we're going to close combat, and that does so much damage. Oh my god. Electivire. He is leftovers. Cool. So he's not Choice Scarf or anything like that. We can just go for another close combat. Then we've got to switch into Silvally, which is not ideal, but yeah, we can just go for another close combat. And we're going to be able to take down the Electivire. If we can take out the Silvally, then we can just spam Plasma Fists. I say we can spam Plasma Fists, I think that's a little hopeful. If he has Scale Shot on his what's it called, Tyrantrum, we could be in for a bad time, as this surely is Scarfed. It's either Scarfed or it's Choppleberry. But I'm just going to go straight out into my Swampert. I'm not going to fuck around with this thing. This is a threat, and I need to avoid being killed by it. The only reason he would have gone into this, surely, is if it's Choice Scarf. At this point, it dies to close combat, even through the Chopple. It dies from Urshifu's close combat, I should say. He's going to go for an Outrage. That is going to hurt. But it's definitely not 2-hit KOing us. It's unfortunate I don't still have Clefairy around, because I could have switched that in here. And I just want to Earthquake, I think. Is Silvally an issue late game? It could still be an issue. But Earthquake will just take this out. Unless he is Shocker, of course. This Outrage is doing a lot of damage to that crit? No. So we are going to just take down his Tyrantrum. Okay. Swampert's almost had all of its use. It's almost got all of its use here, but I'm in a real tough situation. I'm almost at a point where I can spam Plasma Fists. He's going to go into the Silvally. Do I just want to go hard Urshifu on this? And I know that sounds kind of reckless. Oh, he ran out of time. I think that counts as a 3-0 win for me. I didn't even look at my opponent's time at all during that battle, but I think that counts as a 3-0 win. Honestly, that was a 50-50 game to the rest of it, but I might see you in a showdown battle in a second. I might not. I don't know. I don't know what the UPA rules are on timer. I think that if you time out, that's just GG, that's game. But honestly, that was like a 50-50. Who knows what could have happened towards the end of that. But yeah, if you see anything extra, then it's a showdown battle. If not, I'm going to just cut the video here and get back to you in a second. Just, yeah, I'll sort this all out. I'll see you in a bit. Hi, so I spoke to the admins after the game, and it turns out this game is actually going to go down as a 0-0 win for us. We do at least win the game. However, it's by less differential than I was hoping or expecting. And I spoke this through with my opponent after the game. Like, I pretty much just won. At this point, I just won because Urshifu clicked Wicked Blow 4 times. Like, I sack off my Swampert on the turn that the battle ended. And then Urshifu comes in, it clicks Wicked Blow, it kills the Silvally. Even if it's Battle Armor, which it didn't turn out to be, it turned out to be Water Absorb. But if it was Battle Armor Lapras, then there's no way he could 2-hit KO me. After Rocks, I always 2-hit KO'd him with Wicked Blow, despite not having the crit. And then Mimikyu just died to Wicked Blow as well, especially after Rocks. So he would have won that game 2-0, had the game finished. However, obviously, my opponent timed out. It is what it is. Shit happens. But yeah, it's going to go down as 0-0 because we both had 3 Pokemon left at the time of the timer running out. And I've never seen a league actually use that ruling before, that it goes that way. Like obviously, if it's like middle of the battle and it's like 4-4 or something like that, and the timer runs out, and in my opinion, if the timer runs out, it is your fault. You haven't paid attention to the timer. You should go down to 0 for your side, and however many mons left on the opponent's side, that's how many you lose by. That's how it's run in quite a few leagues, but at the same time, I'm going off tangent. I'm getting salty again. This is the reason I didn't want to record it. So I'm actually recording this like a few days after the battle. Firstly, because I was going to do it the day after and completely forgot, but I didn't want to do it straight after. My opponent and I had a post-match interview on his channel. I didn't want to record this straight after because firstly it was 4 a.m. and secondly I was a little bit salty about the result. I'm not going to lie. And I think the salt has started to come through again in what I'm saying. I'm not like, it's not going to matter hopefully by the end of the season. Like that's like at the end of the day, we still won the game, and 2 differential, 3 differential, whatever. If it matters at the end of the season, that's unfortunate, but I'm sure it won't. Like I'm sure it's not going to make any difference at all. But long story short, it's a 0-0, and we're going to go to 2-0 plus 2, which is not the best, but it's still 2-0. So that's all right. And unfortunately, Ushby was not going to get his kills for the MVP race. It'll be up to 5-0, I think, had it got those kills. So unfortunate, but you know, MVP race means nothing in the end. But yeah, I just thought I'd tag this on to the end of the video just so you got an update on what the result was. And yeah, if you did enjoy the video, then please do leave a like, subscribe for more mediocre draft league content. We've actually won a couple of games in this league, which is kind of nuts, but our team is broken. We go up against Galladite in week 3, and Galladite is a very good battler, good friend of mine as well. So very much looking forward to it. And until the next one, have a great day, guys. Peace.